Pookila are a native rodent that unfortunately went locally extinct in this area. We've managed to get some from up in northern New South Wales, where they have some of their last strongholds that haven't been threatened by development or predators. For some reason, they have a refuge, and brought them to our breeding colony so that eventually we could seed them out into recovery efforts like this. We're bringing the mice into this soft release pen so that they have time to settle, habituate and adjust to life in the sanctuary without actually being threatened by the predators that we have here, like birds of prey or quolls. And then after a little while of habituation, and once spring has sprung, we'll open up little holes in the enclosure so they can come and go as they please. While we have the Pookila in their soft release pen, we give them food every couple of days just to make sure that they are healthy and taken care of. But we do have to make sure that they're actually finding the food and that they're surviving, so we do health checks. And that just involves putting out a couple of little small mammal traps and then coming back in the dark of night to check them. And yeah, we empty the trap into a little bag and then check the weight of each of them. And we can tell who they are because we put a little microchip under their skin just right between their shoulder blades. We might be able to do it visually over camera as well. So we've got these remote cameras that are able to detect movement, so we can see the mice as they come and go from the feeding stations. We also are trialing a little kind of earring situation where there's a little clip that we put in their ears with a number and a colour, and that's another way for us to tell who is who just by sight. The plan after we open the tiny little mouse-sized doors from the enclosure and we let them kind of range the environment is to see how we can direct their dispersal throughout the landscape. We've got a number of quite small stopover points. We call them ring tanks, and the idea is that they've got these like islands of protection throughout the landscape so they're not completely undefended as they move around. And then we have our mini safe haven that has been created, and that's based off the work of Kiara Smith. And more or less, it's like a sanctuary within a sanctuary. So it's got a tiny little floppy top of its own to stop things from running or climbing up the side. Particularly our eastern quolls are what we're worried about, those kind of ground-dwelling terrestrial predators that might pose a bit of a threat to the Pookila before they've had a chance to settle. If we can derive their dispersal from this soft release area where they know they have a safe spot through the matrix of ring tanks and then into the mini safe haven, then we can prove that we're able to use these sorts of infrastructure to protect them from high predation rates during their establishment. And B, if we can build up their numbers in the mini safe haven, they'll have a chance to kind of spill out into the surrounding landscape as their numbers grow.
For me, success would look like a thriving population of Pookila taking care of themselves at Mulligan's Flat.